Today, the President and Vice President of the United States met with the President of Ukraine in the Oval Office. The American leaders committed 5 very fundamental errors. There were 5 big failures today, and I wanted to take this opportunity, while the moment is fresh, to comment on what they are. The first failure was one of hospitality. This may seem a little old-fashioned to me, but I think it's important. When someone travels to your house, you're supposed to be hospitable to them. You're supposed to be gentle and generous and providing. And if that somebody who traveled to your house is coming from a country at war, if they had to take a night train because there are no planes or helicopters, if it took them days to reach you because of all these difficulties, that's all the more reason to be hospitable. And in yelling and interrupting, we were inhospitable today.
Exactly, and rightly so. Listen. And I want to put this straight to you. I left Afghanistan and went somewhere and had to wear a suit. I had to get a suit on the way to go there. And I was a fighting soldier in Afghanistan. This is a president. He's not on the front line. He's in a palace somewhere being protected with bodyguards and an army around him. There's no excuse. If a British soldier can get brought off their front line, get changed into a suit to go and do something, then get back into combat and go back in the front fucking line, do not give me any excuses that this leader hasn't got a fucking suit. He turned up to visit the king. The king. King Charles in a jumper and tracksuit bottoms. He's a disgrace. He flew over to America. He had 17 fucking hours in a jet to get changed. I'm just saying, you know what? It's disrespectful. And the way he talks to people is disrespectful. And he's being called out on it, and people don't like it.
Second failure is one of decency. President Zelensky is coming from and represents a country at war. 3 years ago, Russia invaded Ukraine, and since that time has not ceased to commit various barbarisms, from bombing civilians to torturing people in basements to kidnapping children. This goes on and on and on every day. And this is a reality that the president of Ukraine, like all Ukrainians, have to face. One can have different opinions about how to bring this war to an end, and that's normal. What's not normal, what's indecent, is to yell at any Ukrainian, including the president, about your opinion, to yell at them that they are wrong when they've experienced things that you have not, when they've seen things that you have not, when they've had to face choices that you haven't had to face. That's a failure of decency.
Trump showed what a bully he is, demanding he give the US all their minerals if he wants. You see what I mean, Teresa? You haven't listened to what I fucking said. Deborah, block her. I honestly, someone block her. I can't be dealing with retards. I just can't be dealing with it. Teresa, you haven't listened to what I said in my video. You've just put your shit in there. You sound uneducated. You sound stupid, and it's embarrassing. Can someone just get rid of her? Also, that idiots are supporting. It doesn't make. People are just so stupid. They really are. You can't win. You just can't win with people in society. Half of them have a brain and half of them don't have a brain. And the ones that have a brain have stopped negotiating because we're talking to brainless idiots. Just there's no point in negotiating. I mean, idiots are winning because good people have given up arguing. I've just went, what's the point?
And it's related to the third failure, which is a failure of democracy. President Zelensky is coming from a democratic country. He was elected by a big majority, 73%, and he's had to lead a country that expects him to represent them. And that means when he sits in a place or stands in a place, whether it's the White House or any other place, he has behind him all the people, not just the ones who voted for him, but all of the citizens. He can't allow himself to be openly disrespected or belittled or bullied. I'm sure he doesn't want to personally, but he's also representing people who have to stand up for things, people who have had stood up for things. As a democratically elected president, he has to show a certain dignity And again, I'm sure it's a dignity he feels himself. But democracy brings with it some dignity. And if you're a democratic person, you respect that. But the democratic failure has a second side.
I found it insulting. I hope you all found it insulting as well. Yet everyone's angry at Donald Trump. Exactly, Anne. Yeah. You phone up for an ambulance in the UK. One may not turn up because there's hundreds in the Ukraine. UK ambulances, isn't there? And our fire trucks. Shameful behaviour yesterday. And no one picked up on it. Rather than pick up on the shameful behaviour, everyone just went, Donald Trump's a bully.
Most Americans understand that Russia invaded Ukraine. Most Americans understand that the war is Putin's responsibility. Very few Americans believe that we should throw aside Ukraine and our other allies and become an ally of Russia. And that is the fourth failure, the failure of strategy. What we witnessed today, all too clearly, was the beginnings of an American alliance with Russia. And this is something which is very hard to understand in any kind of strategic calculation. The Russians specialize in sabotaging our infrastructure. They specialize in stealing our technological secrets. Those are the two main ways they engage with our economy. It's hard to explain why we would throw over our other allies in order to make an alliance with Russia. Leaving aside the fact that we have 80 years of tradition of getting along with our current set of allies, leaving aside the fact that there's no particular reason that we could ever count on Russia in any situation, there is simply no economic gain here. Canada's economy is bigger than Russia's. Why would we throw over Canada for Russia? The European economies are 15 times, at least, as big as Russia's. Why would we throw them over for Russia? Strategically, it doesn't make sense. Strategy is the fourth failure.
Sign it. Now look at this here. I want to point this out. But Trevor, he's giving a... I'm going to be honest with you. Ukraine owns nothing. They owe so much out to fucking 45, 46 different countries that the country is nothing left. The president has promised so much to so many nations that Ukraine's worth zero. So here's what you do. You either sign the peace deal with the US for 50%, or you lose against Russia and you lose 100%. That's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen.
And the fifth failure is independence. We Americans like to think of ourselves as independent. We like to believe that we think for ourselves. But in that inhospitable, indecent, undemocratic...
Zelensky refused to sign it. Now I'm going to tell you why Zelensky refused to sign it. Okay? Please pin your fucking ears back. I hate repeating myself. If you aren't aware, and I had to write it down here, I've done all my homework. So far, Ukraine has received help from 45 countries. But in order to get help from 45 countries, Zelensky's been flying around the world in his little begging bowl. I don't care what you think of me. He's been around the world speaking to all these different leaders. Now, he's promised something to each leader. Of course he has. He's promised something to Canada. He's promised something to the UK. He's promised Germany. He's promised France. He's promised Spain. He's promised Denmark. He's promised Portugal. He's promised Australia. Let me get it right. He's promised Italy, Netherlands, Lithuania, Switzerland, Sweden, Portugal, Norway. He's promised all these countries something. But he's done it privately to each country. He's done it privately to each country. Donald Trump's the only one who said to him out in the open, I want 50%. And the reason why he would not sign that deal is because all those leaders in the world were fucking watching TV. And they're all going, if he signs this, hello, is that Italy? How much did he promise you? 12%. Is that UK? How much did he promise you? 8%. Is that Spain? How much did he promise?